Congressman ka na, ang party list na kung sa district mo, mo pa? Ano man na sobra na? Ikaw na ang congressman, anak mo rin ang party list dyan? I want to announce for the first time that I am an indigenous woman. I have traced my roots. Totoo yan, hindi kami kontraktor, kagaya ng iba dyan. Na kontraktor na ito, nagpa-party list, hindi na kayo nahiya. Ang dami nyo ng pera. Gusto nyo pa mag-congressman kayo para lalong dumamay ang pera nyo? Do you know, the P3PWD, we give out, if we have donors, laptops, old laptops and notebooks to children who cannot walk but they want to go to school.
First question is from Jairo Rappler.
Rappler, nasan si Paterno? Asan siya?
I am the assigned reporter for today.
Ay, hindi pwede. Dapat nandito siya at sabay siya pakulong sa akin. Diyan muna kaming tatlo. Anak, tabi mo muna yan, anak. Ito ba, Manila Hotel? Yes. Doon sa gitna, anak. Tayo kami, tatlo. Tayo kami, tatlo. Dapat sa likod dyan. Pakitin mo si Attorney Dylan. At saka si Attorney, Attorney, halika, Attorney. Napahirapan ko lang sila. Ha? Tayo. Baka mo. Okay. Good luck, ha? Ako muna. Yung tatlo kami. Yan, o. Outside. Okay na? Okay. Solo ako. Alam mo ako solo. Saan lang to? First time, di ba? Okay. Okay? Ha? Okay na? Okay, I'll sit down na. I'll sit down and where's the microphone? Dito.
Salbahan.
Napahirapan ko lang. You like the Philippine Star? Leave my comments there on I'll just sit down para matagal tayo, ha? Give me the mic dito. Okay na? Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, magandang umaga po. Salamat po sa COMELEC sa pagtupad sa accessibility para sa mga persons with disability. Ako po si Attorney Maria Rowena Guanzon, ang first nominee ng P3PWD party list. Ang ibig sabihin ng P3PWD ay pamilya, pasyente, at PWD. We are a party list that is advocating and will work for the rights and welfare of persons with disability and their families. Specifically, We want to push for 5% share of persons with disability in the total budget of all local government units and national agencies, including government-owned and controlled corporations, similar to the Gender and Development Fund, which should be subject to audit by COA in terms of compliance. Another is social pension, or the monthly pension of persons with disability from the national government. And for LGUs that are first class and second class, this should be required also, in addition to the national government's monthly social pension to persons with disability, especially those that are homebound, those that are, for example, are stroke survivors and have cerebral palsy, especially the children. We want to double the budget of the SPED, the Special Education Department, which now stands only at 500 million. And last year, we fought for the reinstatement of that budget in the Senate because the House gave a zero budget to the DepEd for SPED. Our reasons are as follows. There are only so many SPED schools, and not every LGU has a SPED school. The teachers and parents are always complaining that there are not enough teachers in special education. And I would like to call the attention of the Secretary of the Budget that the plantilla items for this should come from the DBM for DepEd. That is what Secretary Angara told me. And the teaching assistants, of course, for SPED should also be increased. That is not, if money is not available from the national or the budget of the DepEd, which is impossible, the local government officials or units that are first class and second class should be able to provide for the salaries of their teachers. We also want more learning gadgets because now we have to use technology so that children who have disabilities can learn faster. For example, for visually impaired children, we used to teach them how to read Braille. We still teach them to read Braille. Do you know the Braille paper costs 5 pesos each? Oh, how many students in SPED are visually impaired? If every day they will use at least one paper. But the new technology now allows the visually impaired to study, read, listen to music, and be able to speak to each other. In fact, perhaps in the future, they will be able to see colors by using technology. So what we really need now, and what I would like to ask the Secretary of the Department of Education, is that they should have laptops, they should have notebooks. In India, these notebooks only cost $100. I'm sure some scientist or programmer in the Philippines can invent a cheaper notebook for our children who have visual and orthopedic disabilities. Do you know the P3PWD we give out, if we have donors, laptops, old laptops and notebooks to children who cannot walk but they want to go to school. One of these beneficiaries has to be carried by her father on his back every day to the school from the mountains. So now we have to make sure that all of these are in the national budget. The other thing is, we also want to work for issues that are of national interest. One is the full disclosure bill, similar to what VP Lenny filed before. The other is the anti-EPAL bill that was filed before by my principal, Miriam Defensor Santiago. The other is the racketeering, anti-racketeering law the RICO law, RICO, in the United States, which we don't have yet, although we have the Anti-Money Laundering Act. And what I really want also to fight for is the equality law for all. Equality and non-discrimination law for all. Persons with disabilities suffer from discrimination, not only in society, but also in employment, in everything. And the LGBTQIA people, they also suffer from discrimination and other negative treatment because they are gay. So you want a law that will make it a crime to discriminate against any person by reason of their sexual orientation, by reason of their situation in life, race, gender, sexual orientation, disability, ethnicity. A lot of our indigenous people are discriminated because they look different from us, because many of them are not as educated, because many of them are still remain poor, and that is because their lands were land grabbed. I want to announce for the first time that I am an indigenous woman. I have traced my roots up to 5th generation, that I am descended from a Bukidnon Magahat on my father's mother's side. Because you know, my grandfather, who was a mestizo, was an illegal logger. So he had always had to go to the mountains. So I am very proud to say, nakatutubo ako. I am very proud to say, Bukidnon ako na Magahat. I'll tell you a story. You know what the Magahat is? Magahat is like an upper class among the Bukidnon. You are Bukidnon, but you become Magahat if you have killed your fellow tribesmen because they have offended you or your family. So in other words, under their customary law, killing was a badge of honor if it is for justice. Indigenous people suffer from land grabbing, aside from discrimination. There has to be a law that will make it easier for them, for their ancestral tribal lands to be titled. Also, the political dynasty law. This is already too much. And you know, I have many friends in Congress, and this is not personal. Congressman ka na, ang party list na kung sa district mo, mo pa? Ano man na sobra na. Ikaw na ang congressman, anak mo rin ang party list dyan. And that is not what the Constitution envisioned for the party list. It was supposed to be, it was intended for the marginalized sector. That is why I chose the persons with disability. Because my nephew, my brother's son, who's 27 now, his name is Greg, he has autism. He cannot read, he cannot write. He barely speaks. But God is good. Greg is perfect. Among children with disabilities, ang pinakamarami po yung may autism. Kaya yung mga SPED schools, kailangan po talaga yun. Ang next ay children with Down syndrome who need heart surgery all the time. Many of them are also epileptic. Anong ginagawa ng gobyerno? Kulang na kulang yung government hospitals sa services at saka kulang yung mga guarantee letters or payment for free hospitalization ng mga batang who need surgery, especially heart surgery. May nakalimutan pa ba ako? Wala na? O sige, magtanong na kayo. Alam ko naman ang gusto nyo eh.
Yes, ma'am, Commissioner. First question is from Jairo Rappler.
Pero Rappler, nasan si Paterno? Asan siya?
I am the assigned reporter for today.
Ay, hindi pwede. Dapat nandito siya at sabay siya pakulong sa akin.
It's no longer
Gusto ko
co-covering
nga,
election.
Dasan, nandito si Leila eh. Mapicture kami. Si Leila yung kinulong. Ako yung gustong ipakulong. Sabi mo kay Paterno, pag ako'y nakulong, sasama siya.
It's now covering faith and religion, ma'am. Ma'am, for my question, ma'am, you weren't able to sit at the house after Cardema blocked your proclamation. For the record, ma'am, for those who are asking, ma'am, may mga sasabi po na bakit hindi na lang daw po kayo nag-sidestep para makaupo sana yung mga original nominees, ma'am. Can you clarify that po?
Sidestep? Ako?
Opo. Di ba may nag-substitute po kayo after the...
Yeah, because the first nominee was our chair, was a polio survivor, and was survivor of breast CA. Her daughter had stage 4 aggressive breast CA. So she could not sit. So she told me, since you have been advocating for PWDs and you're retired now, why don't you just campaign for us to? Because I'll campaign for you. So I campaigned, di ba? And then she decided di talaga kaya because they'd go to the hospital three times a week eh. So, di talaga kaya. So, that's a fact. Hindi yan namin lie. Ano ba lie sa Tagalog? Ha?
Gusto?
Lie?
Like?
That's not a lie.
Like kasi nungalingan, ma'am.
Hindi yan kasinungalingan. Totoo yan. Sidestep ako para makaupo siya. Eh siya naman talaga dapat uupo. Nag-take out na nga siya. Si Grace Ineza, taga-UPBA, consultant of the ADB. Brilliant people in P3PWD. Brilliant and accomplished people. We have family members who have disabilities. Totoo kami. We are a genuinely marginalized sector. Totoo yan. Hindi kami kontraktor, kagaya ng iba dyan. Na kontraktor na ito, nagpa-party list, di na kayo nahiya. Ang dami nyo ng pera. Gusto nyo pa mag-congressman kayo para lalong dumama yung pera nyo? Sana binigay nyo na lang yan sa amin. Yung mga tunay na marginalized, hindi konti na lang sana ang mga boto kailangan namin. Ngayon, kukumpetensya pa kami sa mga vote buying nyo. Ayan, galit ng lola. Nasaan na yung sandwich ko?
Ma'am, just a follow-up question, ma'am. In 2019...
I was not able to sit because of the personal venganza of Cardema. I'm the one who paid the highest price for supporting Leni Robredo. And you all know that. Ngayon gusto na nila akong ipakulong. Siguraduhin mo lang, Rappler, na nandun ka, ha? At si Paterno dalhin mo. Dahil hindi ako papayag na ako lang makukulong. Sama si Sandra Aguinaldo. Nasaan si Sandra? Sabihin niyo sa kanya, ni-roll call ko siya dito. Pag ako'y naaresto, kailangan yung dalawang yan kasama ko sa kulungan. Dahil freedom of speech ang depensa ko dyan. Aside from, there is no law punishing. How can you indict me for a crime, graft, that there is no law punishing disclosure of the name of the ponente as a crime? That is a Supreme Court rule. And they contempt me, disbar me, but send me to jail. On graft, dahil hindi naman ako kumita kahit 5. Ang daming magnanakaw dyan, ba't hindi nila inuna? Ako talaga gusto niya unahin? Ano ba naman to, ombudsman na to? Maawa naman kayo sa mga taong akala nila nagnakaw ako. 25 years in government. My father and my mother will roll in their graves. Graft? Libel. Pahin ako, bigami. Sige. Sino gusto magpakasal dyan sa akin? Magbigami tayo. Pahin ako. Graft. By telling the public that may nakikialam sa integrity ng Commission on Elections, which should be an independent body. May nag-i-interfere. Kaya yung mga commissioner ay sinusulot. Is that graft? Never mind. I'm going to the Supreme Court on a petition for certiorari, and I pray that the Supreme Court will grant me a temporary restraining order. If not, then Paterno and Sandra Aguinaldo will go to jail with me.
Unfortunately, ma'am, they're not part of the respondents in the...
Ikaw naman, wala ka sense of humor. Malis ka nga dito. Ba't mo nagpapadala rappler dito sa mga serious na mga tao? Alam
Ma'am, that was a joke, ma'am. Ma'am, just a follow-up question, ma'am, to set the record straight po. In 2019, when Cardema used the substitution po for the party list, you said that it was an abashed mockery and assault to democratic processes po. What can you say, ma'am, sa criticism po na you used the same substitution method po for the P3WD
Kasi he was
party list?
disqualified, anak. Under the party list law, overage siya. Eh gusto niya, dahil Duterte siya, pipilitin ko yung mga commissioners na pikit na... Ano ako, bobo? Number 6 ako sa klase ko sa UP, nag-Harvard pa ako. Nakakahiya, nagtuturo pa ako ng batas. Hindi man lang ako marunong magbasa ng party list law. And it says there, he's overage. Oh, hindi ba unanimous ang decision ng Comelec and Bank? Unanimous yun. Disqualified siya. Pero anong ginawa? Pinaupo namin ang anak niya, ang asawa niya. Pinaupo namin ang asawa niya. Hindi lang ako bumoto as a matter of principle. Pero nakaupo sila. Oh, in fact, there's a Supreme Court decision that says that their substitution was valid. Look at me in the eye. You, since you're asking the question, you learn from this. There's a Supreme Court decision that says, tama ang Comelec na pinasubstitute namin. Yung asawa niya, ayaw niya talaga kasi gusto niya, siya talaga mag-congressman. Mario Josep naman. So, that's why he filed a case. He filed a case knowingly that the Supreme Court already favored them. Isn't that malicious? That's really malicious. Kung sino may sabihin na, biktima sila ni Commissioner Guanzon, ako ang biktima dito. Hindi lang ako mukhang biktima kasi nagpapaganda ako lagi. Banak? Okay, banak? Ha? Hand embroidered dito, anak, ha? Ng mga bukid doon sa Panay. Ha? Pati yung belt ko, anak, oh. Ako ang nag-suffer dito. Ako ang biktima dito. Do you know everything that I spend for the PWDs, wheelchairs, everything, talking watch, and you know that comes from my personal money? This election again, personal money na naman ng pamilya at saka mga friends namin. Ma'am, ba't ayaw mong mag-receive ng donations? Ayoko. Mamaya, drug lord yan. You know how many times people, litigants, have attempted to bribe me when I was commissioner? Many of them were drug lords. Kung kawatan ako, matagal na ko silang tinanggap. Sky is the limit. Panalunin ko lang sila. Kaya ang dami kong baril eh. Kasi pag hindi ako nabili, papatay nila ako. Masaya kayo ha. To Philip Salvador, again, I say, after you, sir. Sabi ba naman niya, kayo nagbabati ko sa akin, mamatay kayong lahat. To Philip Salvador, after you, sir. Hindi lang ako mukhang kawayo, ha. Kasi astig ako eh. Kaya hindi na-appreciate yun ng tao. Gusto nila nawaawa. Gusto nila, underdog eh. Ha? Gusto nila underdog. Oh, sirain pa ng wheelchair yung damit ko ah. Mahal nito ah. Oh. Nak, you know me, I feel very strongly about these things, right? I could have just retired with my pension and my inheritance and that damn you all. You deserve the government you get. I'll go live somewhere else. Why am I here? My God, my father fought for this country. Received the Congressional Gold Medal as a veteran. They suffered under World War II. Patriotism is a very high value in my family. Love of country. Sabi nila, nanalo si BBM, Ma'am, ikaw din ba mangingibang bansa ka? Ba't ako mangingibang bansa? Lasing lang ako kagabi, pero this is my fucking country. This is my country. I'm staying here. I'm fighting for my country. Join me. Join me. I know there are still millions of us who want a good future for our children. Hindi na pwede ito. Illiteracy. Hindi na pwede. Gold reserves gone. Inflation rate. Ayuda ng ayuda. Para mabadaling mabili ang boto, ayuda ng ayuda. Bakit hindi isolve ang inflation? Para wala na ayuda. Ha? Di ba tama? Isolve ang inflation. Para walang ayuda. Bigyan ng trabaho ang mga tao para walang ayuda. There's almost 2 million people who have no jobs. 1 million of them are probably in Metro Manila. Can you imagine? 1 million families have no income. And then we ask, why do people sell their votes? Of course, people sell their votes. And why do these politicians buy votes in the first place? And why do they want to keep our people forever ignorant and illiterate so that they can buy their votes? That's why this electoral system is defective. I will write a paper. I've already written 10 books. I think I will write another book. Oh, by the way, I thought I have a book there in my car. Yung sexual harassment book. I was gonna give it to Sandra Aguinaldo for GMA. I have a book on sexual harassment in the UP Law Center. You read it, all of you. It's good for you. It's very easy to read. And you know that I feel strongly about this, not because I want to gain. Because I have nothing else to gain. Nothing else to gain. Ito na yun. This is what you get. What you see is what you get. Sasabihin nila si Madam Bardagulan lang alam eh. Ikaw naman, may Harvard degree naman ako, at UP degree, top 10 naman ako. Hindi lang yan ang alam ko. Style ko lang yan. Kasi yung titigas ng ulo ng ibang tao eh. Kaya kailangan ibabardagulan mo. Oh, next question, sir. Masyadong serious tong Rappler. Ayoko na nito.
Sir, ma'am.
Ayoko na nitong Rappler, ha? Ayoko like people who are
Commissioner
serious.
dito po from ABS-CBN, Jeffrey Hernandez.
Good morning,
Hi,
ma'am.
Jeff.
On a lighter note po, ma'am, sa social media, ang of course, lagi pong sinusundan po ng inyong followers ang Bardagulan serye. Your followers, which you fondly called mga anak, no? So, ma'am, ang question ko lang po, ready na po ba talaga? Anong level ng Bardagulan ang makikita po namin sa isang Rowena Guanzon kapag nakaupo sa Kongreso?
Extreme. You put me in Congress, dudugot tenga nila. Ilong at tenga. Pero correct grammar, ha? I don't owe anybody anything. That's why I can say the truth. I don't owe anybody anything. That's why I can say the truth. We cannot keep on living like this. Do you know I lived through martial law? I was 13 years old. Martial law was... My brother and sister were in the first quarter storm in UP. We survived all of that. We survived the war. We survived martial law. We survived COVID. But we will not survive a failed democracy. Oh, now I'm sounding like Maria Ressa, ha? We will not survive a failed democracy. Ang bongga, lecture ba ito o ano? Interview. Next question.
Anyone? Sino pa po? Okay. Please go ahead, sir.
Hi, ma'am. You said po na with the quality ng COC filers niya, namimiss niyo po si Miriam Defensor Santiago.
Oh, namimiss ko eh. Kasi I was her chief of staff, you know. I really miss her. At saka, Hindi lang yung style yung the humor, the satire, saka yung yung wala siyang sinasanto in Tagalog, no? Wala siyang sacred cow. Diba? Kaya, nakita ko nga may nag-file na katutubo, di ba? Ang ganda. Sa ganun talaga, dapat. Kaso nga, the electoral system has many defects, weaknesses. Kaya tayo nagkakaganito eh. How can you say that this is really a true democracy when the people's votes were just bought? Oh. How can you say that? That this is really the will of the people? If their votes are just bought. And they're easy to buy because there are a lot of more poor people than middle class people. We should have a strong middle class. Look at the other democracies. Of course, America is the one. But I would rather go for the Scandinavian countries where their economy is better. In Norway. That's why I want to migrate to Norway. If I did not run for office, I probably have gone to Norway and teach. You know, in Norway, they have a very strong women's union, and they participate in elections as coalitions. Why do they have a women's union? Because they have jobs. Why don't we have a women's union? Because we don't have jobs for women. We don't have jobs because there's no new capital. There's no new foreign investment. Who wants to invest in the Philippines when the inflation rate is high, corruption is very, very high? Kaya on my agenda list, anti-corruption is really very high. How can you say that we are at mga Pilipino daw, kalahati daw sa atin happy? Ha? Kasi ganyan talaga tayo eh. Yung mga Pinoy talaga, di ba? Kahit saging na lang kinakain, happy eh. Mga Bisaya, kami nga eh. Sayaw kanta eh. How can you say that people are happy? Kung ganito lang lagi ang gobyerno natin, we have to improve the standard of living ng tao. Hindi pwede yung hindi na ito decent living standards. Ewan ko, in my lifetime, kung makikita ko pa ito, 67 na ako eh. Probably I'll be in office 3 years or at most 6 years. Pero, sige, bigyan mo ako 1 million votes, takbo ako senador. Oo. Diba? Kaya! Si JPA nga, 100 na eh. Kaya pa! Next question.
Any more question from the media, please?
The economy. Ask about the economy.
Ano pa? Okay. Anyone? Ma'am, Commissioner, wala na pong question.
So, di ko alam anong sound bites ang nakuha nyo. Pero, I hope you got it all. Ang wish ko po talaga ay mag-succeed itong BBM administration sa pag-angat ng ekonomiya natin para sa mga pobre ba. I am not against BBM personally. I'm not against... if you notice, my criticisms are always specific to the issue. Di ba? Hindi ako nagge-generalize. Pag may magandang issue, okay. Ako, what can I say nice about BBM? Aside from the fact na gusto nila ako ipakulong. What can I say na nice about him? He does not surrender to China. Di ba? Nilalaban niya yung sovereignty natin tsaka yung arbitral ruling. I like that about him. Oh, see? You can print that. You can print that. Pero yung high corruption sa Pilipinas, I don't like that. And he is president, he should be the one to make sure that there is no corruption in his government, especially sa smuggling. Ako, kung ako presidente, kung ako mismo, kahit best friend ko nakaupo dyan sa customs, at bago ko sila i-appoint, papirmahin ko sila lahat ng sworn statement na pag sila ay naging corrupt, sila mismo puputol ng kanilang mga daliri. 10 mga daliri. Sila mismo dapat magputol sila ng mga daliri nila. Kaya tayo hindi umuusad Kasi thinking natin normal ang corruption. Normal. Lahat naman, kahit sino nakaupo dyan, ganyan naman, magnanakaw lang yan naman sila lahat. Oy, hindi lahat, no? Hindi ako magnanakaw, no? Hindi dapat ganun ang pag-iisip ng Pilipino. Dapat nag-iisip ang Pilipino na, hindi na pwede ito. Hindi na pwede ito. Halos 2 milyon walang trabaho. Kailangan na po, talaga, ipaglaban nyo yung bansa natin. Kaya nyo naman dahil may power naman kayo to vote. Kahit gaano naman kayo kahirap. Bigyan kayo 1,000, isang araw lang yun. So, ang wish ko po talaga ay mag-improve po talaga ang ekonomiya under this administration. At we should all show our love of country in every way we can. Salamat po. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. Salamat po.
Okay. Maraming salamat po, Commissioner Guanzon.